right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. So Max, you want me to hold this like way far away, right? Thanks everyone. This is crazy. I feel like I'm not sure why I'm actually up here right after Bruce Party and the likes of the speakers you've already had up here. So thanks for just giving me a little bit of some quiet and just your attention. It doesn't even feel like I'm deserving of this. It's a great group up here. And standing up here today, looking at all of you guys, I can't help but feel like we are witnessing a very important part of Alberta's history. Not because we're turning our backs on Canada, but because we're standing together in Alberta on Canada Day, saying something that I think a lot of people have felt for a long time, and that is that Alberta deserves a voice. Alberta deserves a future, and Alberta deserves to decide that future for herself. And before I say anything else, I want to thank Chris Scott, who's become a very good friend of mine, the Whistle Stop Cafe, and everyone behind the Let's Talk Alberta initiative for creating a place, for creating a place where Albertans can gather, celebrate this province, and talk openly about where we go from here. I want to also thank my friend and co-lead Keith Wilson, and he will be coming shortly. He got held up a bit because he had to do an interview with CTV because the mainstream media seems to be allowing him to have his voice, which is fantastic. That was our goal. Keith has given so much of his time, energy, wisdom, and courage to this cause, and I am so grateful to be walking this road with him. Our team is fantastic. I'm so very proud of the people that we have got into our team and the good that we're going to do for Alberta. I also want to thank all the volunteers and the organizers and the people setting up chairs and handing out information on this journey and making calls and answering questions and all the work that goes into this that people often never see. It takes a whole army of us, and most of that army seems to be right here. I also want to thank my family and every family here, because none of this happens without people at home making sacrifices too. And I want to thank every Albertan who carried this conversation long before Keith or I or anyone else stood on this stage. This did not start with any of us, actually. It started with people who loved Alberta enough to keep asking hard questions when it was not popular, when they were mocked, when they were dismissed, and when they were told to sit down and be quiet. Today belongs to them too. And I've been thinking a lot about Canada. When I was growing up, Canada meant freedom. It's actually tattooed on my arm. It meant hard work. It meant fairness. It meant neighbors helping neighbors. It meant small towns and farms and legions and parades and grain elevators across the prairie, and the belief that if you worked hard and did your part, your children could have a better life than you did. That is the Canada I was raised to love, and I am grateful for it. I'm grateful for the people who built it, the veterans who defended it, and the generations who believed freedom and opportunity were worth protecting. But loving those ideals does not mean pretending everything is fine when it is not. And for Alberta, things are not fine. For decades, Alberta has tried to make this arrangement work. We fought for control of our own natural resources before finally getting them in 1930. We asked for fairness. We proposed reforms. We talked about pensions, policing, equalization, resource control for the last 25 years. And we had the firewall letter that brought that all to the forefront. We had the Fair Deal panel. And in 2021, Albertans voted clearly to remove equalization from the Constitution. And Ottawa carried on like nothing even happened. So when people say, just keep trying, just lock arms, I understand why that sounds reasonable. That is what I believed for most of my life too. But at some point, I think also we're allowed to ask a very honest question. How long have we already been trying? Because Alberta has not spent generations rushing towards independence. Alberta has spent generations trying to make Canada work better for Alberta. And that is why October 19th matters so much. Option 2 is not about waking up the next morning in a new country. It is about giving Albertans the right to decide Alberta's future. It is about leverage. It's about putting Ottawa on notice that Alberta is not going to keep begging for fair treatment forever. It's about saying that the people who live here should have the final say over the decisions that shape our jobs, our resources, our families, and our future. And that is also why Keith and I decided to launch Let Alberta Decide. We know people have questions, good questions, practical ones, like what happens to pensions? What about currency? What about trade, citizenship, borders, international partnerships, the transition? Those questions deserve serious answers, and over the coming months, that is what we're going to do. We're going to make the cause that Alberta has everything it needs to succeed as an independent country, because it does. Our farmland is here, our energy is here, our resources are here, our skilled trades, engineers, entrepreneurs, farmers and ranchers, workers, families, and communities are here. Alberta is not some branch office that can pack up and leave. Alberta is a producing economy. We feed people, we fuel people, we build things, and we solve problems. And I believe Alberta would be stronger if more of the decisions affecting Alberta were made by the people who actually live here. And to me, this movement is not about anger or bitterness. Some may be angry and some may be bitter, but for me, that's not what it's about. It's about not pretending that there will be no hard questions. There will definitely be hard questions, and hard questions are not a reason to stop. They are a reason to start to get serious. And that is what this moment requires from us. Seriousness and lots of courage, confidence, and a deep love for Alberta, which is very evident here. And I'm sorry I'm not wearing my blue sweatshirt right now. It's just getting really, really hot. Love for the people who wake up before dawn to see the fields, milk the cows, drill wells, drive trucks, build businesses, teach children, care for patients, raise families, and keep this province going. Love for the people who built Alberta before us, and love for the children who will inherit whatever we have the courage to build next. So today I'm thankful for the Canada that shaped me. I'm thankful for the values I was raised with, but my heart is here in Alberta. And I do not want Alberta to spend another generation asking permission to become what she was always capable of becoming. I want Alberta free to grow, free to prosper, free to build, and free to decide. So on October 19th, that begins with voting option 2. Not because every question is going to be answered today, but because Alberta deserves the right to ask those questions and debate them and decide our future together. So God bless you all. God bless Alberta, and may she forever be strong and free. Thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's give her another hand. Come on, that was awesome.